Hey guys, this is Jeff and Lauren from the Netflix series Tiger King. Make sure to follow and subscribe to the Reallyfe Street Stars.
Reallyfe.
Real life.
It ain't real life. Just say
Reallyfe Street Stars.
You know what time it is.
Reallyfe Street Stars. Hold on, we got a legendary situation here. We got it's really like the I want to say the cast of the main important integral parts of the Tiger King, man. During the COVID situation, people were wondering what to watch on TV, what to do, what to see, and the Tiger King came on and took the world by storm. And here we have people that you may know. We have Jeff and Lauren Lowe, and we also had James as well, to be able to come in and sit down and talk with us about the phenomenon of the Tiger King. First and foremost, how are you guys doing with this newfound success of, and I don't want, let's just say newfound fame of the Tiger King fame? How has it, how have each of you taken it personally?
It's definitely changed our lives for sure. Our lives changed completely overnight. None of us knew that this was going to happen. Just it happened to be COVID and Tiger King happened at once, and it was stars aligned and everything exploded.
There you go. Jeff, you were already kind of the man before this.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, you were already kind of the man before this, but
I try to tell everybody that, and they just don't listen.
But there's one thing to have to be known around the world, where a kid in Thailand might be like, "Yeah, I know you." How does that feel to where like you're known around the world?
It's weird when it's little kids because you think, what did your parents think when they put you in front of the tiger? But it's kind of surreal. You forget sometimes, like when it first hit, and the zoo started getting besieged by people. I mean, we'd have 500 cars at the zoo. A big crowd was 50 cars before, and then you'd have 500 cars. And you forget that when you walk up to the office this morning, there's going to be 300 people standing there acting like you're somebody.
Yeah.
The day before, they didn't give a damn.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of weird getting used to. And you'd wake up in the morning depressed and you think, wait, I'm going to go up there and feel like I'm famous, for the next 10 hours.
Can you still walk in Walmart?
Pardon me?
Can you still walk in Walmart?
Yeah, we do.
I prefer Target.
There you go. Do you get noticed in Target at all?
Oh, that's where it actually first
that's
hit.
when we first knew we were in trouble.
We actually were walking into Target. This was in Norman, Oklahoma, and we just dropped a tiger off at the vet for like little checkup. And Sarah, our daughter, she was only 6 months old at the time, and we hear people in the parking lot screaming, teenagers, and we're like, but we were just all teenagers. We thought there was a fight going on, so we're like, whatever. We walk into Target. Of course, this is right before they were like, you have to wear a mask. And we're in the diaper section getting Sarah some clothes and diapers. We turn around, and there's 50 people hiding behind clothes racks and taking pictures of us, and we're like, what's going on? And we're looking behind us, seeing if there's something strange going on, and not you. And and all of a sudden, they're like, can we take your photo? And we're like, sure. They're like, Tiger King, was it real? Did it really happen? And it was just so surreal, but it made us very humble to a lot of people and grateful, but we say hi and hello to everybody. We're not mean to anyone, and it's been great.
Cool. I mean, the fame is cool, and everybody should get to experience it, but it can get kind of creepy, and you can't go to a restaurant anymore without people sitting taking pictures of you eating, which is
that part is hard.
So if you look like a gorilla when you eat, you just got to turn your head. But we went out last night into Fort Worth, and when I saw the crowd, James pulled around the corner, and Bottle Blonde and all these. And I said, man, this is going to be really bad. And he goes, what do you mean? I said, this is going to be really bad. And we got in there, and it was really bad.
It was really,
I
but
mean, it was-
in a good way. Everybody was so nice and friendly. It was a very welcoming
and it's easy to
committee.
become an alcoholic because everybody wants to take a
Everybody wants to give you a
buy
shot.
a shot with
yes.
you.
It's
Yeah.
like, take a picture. Here's
That's
a
what
shot.
got us in. That's what got us in trouble in Oklahoma City. I mean, 57 shots in one night.
Oh,
Yeah.
57.
Yeah, 57
yeah.
shots.
It was so bad.
Ribbon nights out on ribbon nights.
I don't remember any of that.
You're not the guy to turn a drink down. You just
You know what?
Sometimes he'll like pretend drink, but he'll like, just kind of hand it off to the side because you start knowing your limit as to when to stop. But you're still going to be nice and be like, well, thank you, get a photo and then move on.
And I'm the fool that says, yeah, I'll take a Rumplemans. 3 of those will put you on your butt. And yeah, so the
10.
night, 30 of them, you're just comatose. But, it's cool.
Wait,
It's
how was
died
it?
down.
How was it for you though? Because you were in Florida.
Man, I live in a touristy area in Florida. I have a jet ski business. So what Tiger King did for me, it helped boost my jet ski business because obviously all the jet ski memes during COVID, I did more jet ski tours than pretty much any company in the Florida Keys. So it was good. It was just strange getting off the jet ski and have lines of people wanting to take pictures with me and stuff. And, it was strange, but then you have the dark side of this thing too.
Yeah, James, because, your claim to fame was more so like you kind of thwarted the whole plot. And, you kind of came in what was, I guess, supposed to be a plan or whatever. And
Well, see, I feel bad because I put him in the situation that he was put in.
Really? How so?
Right?
Yeah, kind of.
It was my fault.
It was kind of a mutual deal. We were like, pretty much, Joe needs to go. He's doing awful things to animals.
I
know?
would say
We didn't
horrible
care
things to
that he
animals.
wanted to kill Carole Baskin.
Yeah.
He's just,
That wasn't. People talk about doing stuff like that all day.
Oh my God, we weren't the only ones that wanted her gone. It was like
she's-
anybody in the animal industry was like, the bitch has got to go.
now it's everybody in every industry.
Listen.
I think she's the most hated woman on earth.
I was Carole Baskin's first target in 2006.
That was her first husband.
Oh, wow.
That bitch fucked with me,
yeah.
for years.
Remind Carole Baskin's, her location was in Florida?
Tampa. Yeah, I used to live
Tampa,
not too
Florida.
far from her.
Oh,
And
so
she
yeah.
would constantly be calling PETA, the authorities on me. And
And she
You
did
know,
exactly the same
yeah.
thing Joe did. I mean, she kept tigers in
Yeah.
cages. Her cages were even smaller.
Yeah.
And she's in an area where the ground is soft and, hurricanes blow through there.
Hurricanes are just
so
bad.
every time a hurricane go through, we just say, I hope half her cats get out. Just, because she deserves some of the negative animal rights nuts, criticisms that we all get, that she's caused us all to get. She deserves it herself. And, I hate to say I'm glad it happened, but it was like the day before Christmas or something, I think, 2 years ago. Joe had an employee lose an arm. Yeah. Carole Baskin had an employee lose an arm.
2 years ago.
A 70-year-old woman.
Yeah,
And
she lost her arm.
Carole,
yeah.
of course, throws the blame on this woman. She didn't, proper protocol. But the way Carole's cages were built, you couldn't help but avoid to get that close to the cat, and it grabbed her arm.
But they buried the story so fast.
You don't
It's
hear
like,
about her anymore.
How did that happen?
We don't know if she's alive. We don't know if she's dead.
Wow.
Carole obviously paid her off to just be quiet and never give an interview. If she's alive, she's never given an interview.
So, and this is for all three of y'all, before we even start this interview, as far as getting into it, what is y'all thoughts on animals in general? Like, what is your love or hate or disdain or admiration for animals in general?
We love every animal.
I'm an animal advocate.
We live in Mexico now, and we go by. We'll go to Sam's. They have Sam's Clubs there.
Thank
And
God.
we buy 50 big bags of dog food, and we take it to the shelters. I mean, we still care tremendously about animals.
Mm-hmm.
I do see more now that I'm kind of stepped away from it a little bit. I see people's point about cats being in cages, but I also understand that everything in this room is affected the ecosystem and the environment that all these animals live in. And as long as humans continue to want to, have nice clothes and toilet paper and all these things, we're chasing animals into highways. A perfect example, in Mexico, there's jaguars everywhere. And they're building this Mayan train that's a high-speed train that goes, all the way down the Yucatan Peninsula. and it's chasing the construction and the explosions to do this are chasing jaguars into the road and they're getting hit.
And one just got hit and she was pregnant and she
so-
was 2 days away from giving birth, and it was just like so sad because it was like there's nothing they could do.
I think in order for my kids and her kids to be able to see these animals, I mean, Tasmanian tiger, it's a perfect example. You know, 1927 is the last one that anybody's seen. And if someone had 50 or 100 or 200 of them in zoos that were breeding,
They'd want to see
we'd
them.
still have them. Yeah. And the tiger is one of the most majestic animals ever. And one of the most badass animals ever. Why do you ever want to lose a tiger? And I hope they survive, and I hope people will leave them alone. But there's 96 elephants killed every day. And every day we lose 100 elephants. And I'll start singing it. I want you to dare you.
Yeah, please don't sing
I'm not
that
going to
song.
sing that Joe Exotic song. I'm not going to do it. But if you can afford to take care of animals and you want to own a monkey or you want to own a tiger, you should be welcome to own whatever you want as long as you do it responsible.
As long as you have the
And-
money to take care for them and love them and
Yeah.
give them the utmost respect,
Yeah.
that's all that it should be. But you have these people that are going to hate on you and be like, they belong in the wild. And it's
Yeah.
like, they've never seen the wild.
Yeah.
Never. It's not like we took them out of the wild. They were already born. So it's kind of like,
And
oh.
why is it okay for Carole Baskin to have a tiger,
Right.
but James can't own a tiger?
Right.
And it's ridiculous. And all these PETA organizations, it's if you do it responsible and you care for the animals properly,
Yeah.
So there's no animal that you feel should just probably not be owned. Should just probably be left.
There's certain people that shouldn't own
yeah, exactly.
animals.
Definitely.
That's a difference because
But the funny thing is, you can go back and look through the history in the last 50 years. Most of the animal attacks and deaths are in
the
big
wild.
city zoos, like the Dallas City Zoo and Jacksonville Zoo. And those are supposed to be the respected AZA zoos who know everything, the gods of zoos. And they've got 2 tigers, 2 Sumatran tigers, and we had 250 of them, never had anybody killed. So, it's just a very, very hypocritical industry. And it's almost like the equestrian, the horse industries, the money. Why doesn't PETA go after the horse tracks? It's because all these, multi-millionaires in Dallas own racehorses, and they can fight back. They have the money to fight, the bad press that PETA would give them. We didn't have that luxury. I mean, we had enough money to keep 250 tigers fed and taken care of, but
And
you
pay
don't
the
have,
staff and
you don't
everybody.
have the money to pay $500,000 to an attorney every year, which we were doing. Is just
Yeah.
It
It,
just-
it
they-
eats you alive.
they just sue you into non-existence.
And but here's the thing, right? Because like you said, it's obvious like that y'all have a love and a care for these animals. Why is it that just PETA gets to come in and say y'all aren't doing your job or
Yeah.
Exactly. It's this.
And what people don't know is that PETA kills more animals than Joe Exotic and Carole Baskin and all of these other irresponsible animal owners has ever killed. PETA kills them every year.
Yeah. And it's not about the animals with PETA and Carole Baskin. It's about money.
right?
It's about how many donations they can take in a year. It's all about money. It's not about, like, Carole Baskin is probably one of the biggest online bullies there is, because she has a lot of money and she just harasses people. And she takes in $4 or $5 million a year and free mailbox money so she can harass people. And that's what she does. And like, if Joe would have followed through with his plan, I wouldn't have lost any sleep.
No.
Carole Baskin got whacked.
So I have to ask, then, there was a report that Carole Baskin's husband was found alive and well in Costa Rica. What were y'all thoughts when y'all
That's
saw
not true.
She put that out.
That she
She
put that out.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's not true.
Yeah, I'm feeling like, everyone was going crazy. Like, oh, this changes everything. This
If
That
that's
was
the
a paid
case,
publication.
then she needs to return the life insurance money.
All right, she
the
canceled
house and everything.
Everything.
all the guns that she gave to Kenny Farr, the guy who
Yeah, reverse
probably-
everything if that's the case. 'Cause
Yeah.
Right,
she actually got paid because he was missing,
right.
and they used it as, hey, well, he must be,
And you know what? On the very first day she was eligible to have him declared legally dead, she's standing at the courthouse waiting
moved on that day.
for him to unlock the door.
Yep.
Do you feel like that kind of played into a lot of people's feelings on Carole Baskin as far as that? To
You know
move
what,
the day, to move that day.
Carole never thought she'd be famous. I mean, Carole just thought she'd be this old, ugly ex-prostitute living in Tampa.
Oh yeah, she is a
never,
former prostitute.
And never be noticed.
She is. That's how she met Dawn.
Yeah,
Real life street stars.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah,
Real life street stars.
she lived on Nebraska Avenue. She worked Nebraska Avenue in Tampa.
Yeah.
And Don picked her up, and that's how they.
That's
We're
how it
gonna
happened.
we're gonna expose Carole Baskin this year.
Yeah. So what are your thoughts when you see her on Dancing with the Stars?
Oh my God, the judges destroyed her.
I want her to fall and break a hip, but she never happened.
I mean,
Hoping for the moment that.
like they
break her neck or something.
they destroyed her. So I mean, like we don't have anything that we need to say about it. The judges did it themselves.
You
so.
know when they picked her that
It was just to be made
It was
fun
just to
of,
be a
obviously.
laughing
Yeah, you
stock.
know exactly what it was.
Yeah.
But on a sensitive side with that
What?
Dancing with the Stars,
She's a real
you got to think
tiger
they're
bitch.
making fun of this guy dying.
Yes.
You know, they made fun of it. You know, when the judge would say, "Oh, she killed it," they were insinuating. And
Right.
you have a family over here
Mm-hmm.
that's grieving the loss of their father,
Saw that.
and she's involved. And it just shows in this world, money can buy the whole legal system.
How do you know Kim Kardashian?
Oh, do a tape. Do a tape of,
Before that,
OJ shop, yeah.
I mean, so two people losing their lives is how Kim Kardashian is as famous as she is, and Carole killing her husband is why Carole is as famous as she is. And it's kind of a sad reflection on who we are as a society that we can put these people, we just look beyond what they've done and stick them up on these platforms and make them tremendously wealthy. And
So from what the Netflix show showed with Don Lewis, he was already traveling, to Colombia type situation. You don't feel like it's just a plane in the sea?
no, because his planes
was
were
still
there.
That's why.
Yeah, Carol's a licensed pilot too. And that didn't come out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
See, we're just dropping bombshells left and right.
Yeah.
And Carole keeps changing her stories. And why did she disconnect his phone if he's still missing? Why did she disconnect his phone? Why was she giving away all his guns?
The
Yeah.
Because
day
she
after.
knew he wasn't coming back because she knew somebody whacked him.
Yeah.
How is she
100%.
free?
If he's
This is more information than
I
I've
can
ever.
tell you why she's free, but I'll probably have a hit because it's kind of a mob related. And I'll lay this out there. This is gonna go pretty deep. So if I get killed the next few days,
Oh God.
then you know why. Okay. So the sheriff
Real life
of
street stars.
the sheriff of Hillsborough County.
In
all right,
Tampa. Who's Tampa?
His father-in-law is Eddie DeBartolo that owned the 49ers.
Oh wow.
Okay. His family donates to Big Cat Rescue. There's a gentleman that sits on Big Cat Rescue's board of directors that's also in business with the sheriff. So there's all kinds of connections and corruption. But as long as that sheriff's in office, Carole will not be prosecuted. So he protects her. And
her brother was
Her
her
brother,
brother was
in the
sheriff's deputy.
Yeah.
when Don went missing.
when Don went missing. And
I mean, the FBI's already
Yeah.
determined that all of the wills and the power of
All of
attorneys
them
were
were
all
forged.
forged. They were traced. They were traced from their marriage certificate. Or
yeah, every document land transfer was traced from their marriage license.
But it wasn't just that. It was in his will. It says, "In case of my death or disappearance." Who puts that?
yeah.
Yeah. Who puts "in case of my disappearance" into something and say, "Hey, here's the money."
So I'm just curious.
Yeah.
If a person was to feed someone to tigers, let's just say,
Oh yeah. Okay.
do you whole body or do you parts?
You'd find a lot of the human. I mean, it might eat some of the soft cartilage, but you'd find the skulls and the
Because-
femurs. But the story is she had these industrial meat grinders. If you watch Tiger King, she says, "Oh, there's no way I could have ground him up in the meat." And she had one of these little bologna grinders hooked to her kitchen cabinet. She had industrial meat grinders that you had to pull behind golf carts. I mean, these things, big motors on them, and these sleuths have found the receipts where she sold them at an industrial
Auction.
auction.
But she claimed them as stolen. So
Yeah,
she
and then
actually
they're
filed a
reported
police
stolen.
report as them being stolen.
Because you could
So-
grind, in an industrial meat grinder, you could grind bone, you'd never find
Yeah.
it.
yeah.
Won't ever find anything.
She's guilty. It's just money.
Jeez.
I mean, money.
Yeah, again, R. Kelly was guilty the first time around, and look what happened.
Do you find it sick that pretty much Netflix kind of helped her propel it?
Well, let me. You mean?
That's the story.
Okay, so what Netflix did, the director, well, not Netflix.
It wasn't Netflix. It was
Royal
the
Good
director.
Productions.
There you
Okay, it's a rich guy named Eric Good. He owns basically like a big cat rescue for turtles out in California. All right, he's the Carole Baskin of the turtle world.
Oh, wow.
He wanted to get this Big Cat Safety Act passed, which they used Tiger King to make us shed us all in a bad light to get this law passed for Carole Baskin. That passed this year. So you can't privately own a tiger anymore. You have to be a business or whatever. So they used the Tiger King director Eric Good hid a lot of this stuff. He hid a lot of allegations. They had a lot more stuff on Carole that they could have proved she was tied to this missing person, but they didn't want to expose her that bad. They just wanted to get her popular, pass the bill, move on to another project, which they're doing now. They're going after the monkey industry.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
Netflix is about to release. It's called Chimp Queen, right?
Called Chimp Queen.
Chimp
It's about
Queen, yeah.
Nobody knows that but you guys now. And
Real
it's-
Life Stars. Exclusive after exclusive.
Except now everybody else.
Yeah, now everybody else.
Now everybody
knows.
else.
But
So-
you know what? I'd rather steal their thunder and
Expose
let's
it
do
before
it.
it's
Let's
too
do it.
late.
expose it.
So now that we're on Chimps, let's start with I want to talk to y'all about Joe Exotica. But before we get to how y'all even met and kind of the relationship, there was a situation on the last episode of Tiger King season 2 where they talked about Joe. I think it was the first episode of season 2 where he buried a chimp.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
He did the Say Something song, singing to the chimp, had a Hope funeral. What are your thoughts on that in itself when you see like Joe, knowing Joe for who Joe is, him going all out for this chimp?
I'll give you the answer to that.
Yeah, that
Why
one's
is
a
it
good one.
recorded?
Why is it recorded?
When you go to grandma's funeral, do you record it?
Yeah, we don't have a high production on Grandma's
You know,
funeral. no.
you just everything he did was a mechanism for attention. And you
Now,
know, film this. You know, a handicapped child. He'd see a handicapped child being brought in a wheelchair. Timmy, get up here with the radio. You know, or the with the camera.
We gotta get that on camera.
Yeah, get the cameras up
Yeah.
here, and he'd post pictures, and then he'd talk shit about them as soon as they were
Yeah,
gone.
he talked bad about handicapped people or with disabilities. He didn't like women.
With the most
Just in
racist
general, just women in general.
women
Yeah,
in general.
oh, me and
he
him
couldn't stand him.
did not
Yeah.
get along at all. It
Just-
was just
Yeah.
bad.
Just ask yourself, this lady's arm got ripped off, and he had time to go put on a paramedic's jacket.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
That when you start looking at
We
that
found
right there tells you a lot.
We found an interview the other day. James and I finally have acquired what Joe never wanted anybody to acquire, and that's his private personal hard drive of all the sick.
Oh, the stuff that was missing.
That supposedly
Wow.
actually burned up in
It
a
burned up.
fire.
That's the other footage. That's
Oh,
the
that's
footage.
the other footage.
That's
Okay,
still,
Yeah.
We have
but this
that
is
too.
part of that
We have
too.
that too. But we've spent the last few years spending all of our children's inheritance to buy footage.
that.
Oh wow.
And that's why when we called Netflix and told them what we had, they said, we need to talk.
Was any footage surprising when you?
Oh, dude.
Oh,
Dude,
yeah.
Stuff we can't show. I mean, stuff we probably shouldn't even own.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Well,
We-
it's,
we
all,
had-
it's all being turned over to the proper
we had
authorities.
to tell the
Oh, wow.
FBI what we were buying, and
Authorities
they,
have to get involved with
Yes.
the footage y'all
Yeah.
have.
Yes,
No.
they absolutely do. It's that sad, and I mean,
Is there
but
anything you want to like? Just can you say
I would-
anything? What's
you
up?
want to? I mean,
Maybe not too much.
I want the pleasure to do this one.
you do.
Okay, James. Here you
it's-
go.
yeah,
Okay, so
Shut up, you bitch.
So Joe wasn't able to use his manhood. Okay, so Joe got off by seeing things done to his husbands and boyfriends. Well, there's a particular time where one of his husbands had sex with a farm animal. So
Cameras is out.
it's there.
Cameras are out.
Yeah,
That's
so-
everything.
He wasn't.
he didn't hide that he like these
Yeah.
were his trophies. Like
Who do you
know.
think he had filming it?
What type of animal
Joe.
on Farmers in the Dell
You think he
was
did
he?
it, Joe?
Bah.
Ah, shit.
Goats,
Yeah.
It's
kangaroos.
real. It's real. It's
Go.
real. We acquired a lot of his footage, and this guy recorded everything
Yeah.
from about 2011, every day of his life. I mean, we've
Oh
been.
no, 2005. We found some from 2005.
Oh
remember?
yeah, we've been downloading this OneDrive we have
VHS? Yes.
for
It's
about
bad.
2 days almost now.
It's 6 terabytes of. 6
Just
terabytes
footage
is like
That's a
and
lot of
there's like
terabytes.
3,200 hours of video, right?
3,200 hours of him.
Yeah.
having sex with
Oh,
Oh,
just
no,
not
it's
that.
just that. It's not just that. It's not just that. No. But there's like other things, yeah.
We found a video yesterday that where he filmed himself selling endangered wolves, you know.
And selling
And
lions.
you're not taking
Yeah.
it out here until I get my check. I was told my check would be here, and you know.
Cameras are on.
He
Dude.
filmed
Yeah,
everything.
Filmed
he
his
filmed
crimes.
everything.
Yeah.
But then,
Everything.
but what he had a microphone on, and then the camera guy would be standing kind of far behind, so
So it's off. Yeah.
And
So-
you can hear him get on the phone saying, "You told me the check was going to be with the." You know.
yeah, it was just like, good Lord, he's just confessing to all his crimes and filming it, and it's just like,
The feds really picked and choose. I think the ones because they got him for selling what 5 tiger cubs. This guy sold 5,000. I think he admitted at one point that he's moved 4,000 tigers,
Yeah, I
but I
think
wonder if he
so.
means sold them. And,
Man, y'all need like a animal kingdom academics. Like
Yeah.
whenever we do something in our community, academics exposes us. Like who exposes stuff like this?
yeah.
They're like
The zookeepers for idiots, right?
Well, Joe spends every day bashing me and Jeff and Lauren.
Mm-hmm.
He has these people on his social media that are logged into his social media that are totally
Never met the
accusing
guy.
us of everything every day of the week.
Never
so
met
we
him in
finally
person,
got
yeah.
tired of it after 4 years of harassment. Now, this whole celebrity thing was fine for a while, but there's a dark secret. I mean, there's a dark side to it too. Getting harassed by people, getting death threats, you know, all these internet keyboard warriors writing bad reviews on your business because of a television show.
But
There's
you-
a whole lot of different stuff that's going on too, and then being bashed by Joe every day from prison.
Wait, baby.
And
Sarah.
Sorry.
it was time me and Jeff and Lauren, we started fighting back, and now that's where we're at now.
James and I, Joe, sorry.
What the fuck?
Now,
James and I have discussed many times that if you watch Tiger King, you think, God, these guys are the biggest fucking criminals. They're dangerous. They shouldn't be on the streets. And then you look and just these guys fucking with us every single day. I said, if you really feared us, if we were really, you know, the creatures and the monsters you say we were,
why would you want to fuck
you
with
wouldn't
us?
piss me off, you know. And it's just the irony is not lost in the fact that they continue to stick us with a stick every day, and they just pissed us off. And now it's time. Okay, we ponied up the money and we bought the hard drive that Joe never wanted to be released.
Season 4.
Yeah, season 4.
so
That's
James,
what we're about to do with it.
Yeah.
James, now you got the snitch jacket.
Yeah. Rat, snitch, informant, whatever you want to call it.
Now, we don't usually see that get thrown around a lot outside of, you know, hip hop culture. So, what has that done? How's that affected you? Like, how's that affected your life, your business?
I
Well-
would say
Yeah.
snitch though.
Yeah.
No, you're not a snitch because you can only tell on a snitch is if you tell on somebody you're doing business with and y'all are in
Yeah, I wasn't
cohorts.
trying to save my ass for anything. You know?
You can't snitch. You're trying to get an evil man off the street.
If
Yeah.
okay, but you say this: if somebody's beating your kid, and I told on him, would that make me a snitch too?
No.
I mean, there's some people have, you know, this guy needed to be off the streets because he was killing all these tigers and
He was hurting people.
after all these young boys. So I didn't do it because of Carole Baskin. I did it for the animals. And Carole Baskin came up in a conversation, and that's when Joe put his foot in his mouth. I mean, he put himself in jail with his tapes and his trying to hire everybody to kill that bitch down in Tampa. So
What people have never heard.
So for a moment, did you really think he was gonna get pardoned?
no,
Okay, because that was out there. I was like, oh.
no. I was sitting there drinking a beer. I had a bet on it that he wasn't going to get pardoned. We were betting because they had the whole limo thing. And
Hairdresser, they had a hairdresser.
They had a
in the
hairdresser.
Oh
bleachers.
yeah,
there
that is
for
right.
him.
They did have a hairdresser.
Nobody wants Joe on the streets. He would be.
Helicopters.
Yeah, no.
But you know what? Helicopters weren't just Joe. Joe rented a helicopter and flew over Big Cat Rescue.
Yeah.
And Joe rented a helicopter and flew over our park. And the feds, when they came to the park to dig up the tigers, the feds came over and says, if I knew anybody at a news station, this might be a perfect time to fly a helicopter over. So everybody used, everything that they could use to get their point across and to make an effect. And unfortunately, it was just too cloudy and rainy that day. They couldn't get the chopper in the air. But otherwise, there'd be footage of them. There were like 20.
I mean, we got a lot of pictures and footage.
20 SUVs, darked out SUVs pulled into our zoo and drove down there. And it was crazy watching these guys dig for those tigers, but we found them.
Man, that's crazy. Now, wait. Now speaking of plot to kill, Jeff, there was a story out there that somebody was plotting to kill Joe.
You know what?
And you knew of the plot.
Well,
Alan Glover.
that's not exactly how it works.
right. Lord, tell him.
Alan Glover, the guy that got in the bathtub in Tiger King.
He's the nicest hitman you'll ever meet.
The nicest hit you ever done.
Alan is like a troubled child. I mean, Alan dropped out of school. I think he's got a third grade education.
Yes.
And I took care of his brother. His brother had brain cancer. He worked for me in South Carolina. And when his brother Bubba got brain cancer, I paid his rent and I paid everything for Bubba. And Alan, who was his kind of convict brother, who Bubba tried to take care of, Alan just saw what I was doing and thought, I've never seen anybody be nice to anybody without an ulterior motive. So he came, he says, I'd like to work for you now and take my brother's job. And I said, let's do it. And Alan is a super nice guy. I mean, he buys the baby diamond earrings when he's got no money. But Alan is easily manipulated. And Alan was one of the worst drug addicts and alcoholics that you've ever seen. So one night he got drunk and he got cocky and he pulled a gun on me, and a shotgun, because I was criticizing. You can't. We were loading tigers at 3 a.m. He said, you can't do this, with a gun, and you can't do this drunk. So shots were fired, and Eric Cowie,
and there were already police on
the one
site
who died,
too.
Eric Cowie pulled out his gun and he shot at Alan's feet. And he says, I said, the next one goes in you. And so Alan now has a grudge against the guy who he thought was God before. So Alan allows John M. Phillips, let's turn this into a commercial for John M. Phillips, the crooked ambulance chasing Better Call Saul attorney of Jacksonville, Florida.
Scumbag.
Just a horrible man who took Joe's case and he's
as a
railroaded
publicity
Joe's
stunt,
case.
complete publicity.
Joe had an opportunity with a real criminal attorney. This guy's a civil, slip and fall accident attorney. If Joe would have gotten a real attorney, there was enough Brady violations in the government's, which was concealing some information. I think there would have been enough to at least garnish him a new trial. Not to overturn his conviction, but to get him a new trial.
And maybe shorten his sentence just a little bit.
This dumbass attorney has gone up. We were going to help him because the feds came after us after promising that they were going to leave us alone. They raided our new park with 47, armed guards with night vision and ARs, and
they stayed the night on our property for 4 days. They wouldn't even try to let us leave the house.
So I said, what
it
the
was
fuck?
insane.
You guys aren't going to come and kiss our ass for a year to help you get the biggest animal wildlife trafficker in the world, and then turn on us. We haven't done anything. But it didn't matter because Carole Baskin said it was so. Yeah. And they... and
she was behind it because we found her actually trying to breaking on our property, everything. Yeah.
So we called John Phillips and said, look, I've got some information. We've got all these, we recorded everything. I mean, everything. And so we've got all these recordings of the feds and that might be interesting to you. He says, I just booked you a plane ticket, get on a plane, get that stuff out of your house before they come in and seize it.
Yeah.
So we went down there and we shared all these recordings under the provision that he would now sue the people who just raided us.
And that he become our attorney.
Under a RICO Act, because now you had PETA, Carole Baskin, and the DOJ conspiring to steal all of our money. So now you got a racketeering case against the Department of Justice. And he says, this is a slam dunk. So that we signed, we retained him, which, he's Joe's lawyer, now he's our lawyer, and we helped put Joe in huge conflicts of interest. And he said, I got to get Joe to sign off on this. And he'd call us up, he says, we're good. Joe says, let's go. And we're going to give Joe 50%, we're going to give 50%. And you got noisy neighbors. And it played out that now Lauren's got a really successful OnlyFans account, and so even the phones and the hard drives we gave him had all kinds of great stuff on it. This motherfucker starts uploading to Pornhub, figuring that he can upload her videos and her earning potential on OnlyFans.
Oh yeah.
Everything this moron's done recently is just to magnify us and keep us so he's taking and recycling. I was on TV a few times. I worked with the Knievel family, and I was on different TV shows with the Knievels, and he's recycling these things on a daily basis. And
so it's like what is it for? What is it supposed to do?
So he's every recording that she had of the feds, he's posted online. Joe's entire case has been posted on YouTube, and what attorney have you ever seen put all of his cards on the fucking internet? And so now, what's his plan of attack? He got us to sign affidavits, okay? He falsified his affidavit. He offered him $10,000 to change his testimony.
To match Glover's.
To match Glover's. But back to Glover. That was your question. I'm sorry. So Glover told him that we had a plan to cut Joe's head off with piano wire or barbed wire.
It was the wire that would come in the haystacks. And it was just like, yeah.
But Alan would call me in Las Vegas because Lauren and I, Joe got us to come to save the park. We saved the park, and I said, I got to get out of here. I can't deal with this guy. So we went out to Vegas, and Alan would call me and say, can I kill this motherfucker? He says, I'm going to drop a chainsaw on his head. And he says, I'm going to string a wire and cut, because Joe would go flying through the four-wheeler. And so we just heard it, But now Alan turns that into me and Jeff were going to put... And the producers of Tiger King already, they wanted that story. That was the only big news of Tiger King 2. Yeah. And, he's the one who found out that it was all falsified.
The director told me it was all garbage.
They planted the wire, Alan did say he wanted to cut Joe's head off. And do what you want to do. I don't care.
But you also told him, you're like, Alan, you said we have a business.
I said, you're in a family park and you want to decapitate a guy right up in the center of the park. I don't think it's good for business. I was like, that's not very good. That's not a good idea.
So.
But you can't save people from themselves. And Joe come to me, you think Alan could kill that? I said, sure, he's capable. I said, but is Alan, a third grade graduate, the one you want to put the fate of the rest of your life in his hands?
Yeah.
Dumbass did it. Right. And you know what? People never heard. James had the FBI informant come to the park. James was with the FBI informant, and Joe's trying to say, I never paid Alan to do it. Well, if you go look at the juror, one of the jurors from the trial, she says the public doesn't know what we heard. And Joe told the hitman that he took. Mm-hmm. He says, my first hitman ran off with my money, so I need to get another one. So he's just admitted to an FBI agent. He paid the first hitman, but now it's all a setup. Jeff set me up.
Word to the wise: if you're gonna hire a hitman, offer him a whole lot more than $3,000.
I know.
More than $3,000. Man, more than $3,000.
He wanted to finance the hitman, $3,000 down.
He wanted to afterpay the hit.
Yeah.
He wanted to quad for it.
Yeah, he wanted to fucking afterpay the fucking hitman, $3,000 down and $700 a week for however many fucking weeks. When you plot a murder, don't you just give the hitman money? You never want to see him again.
Right.
You don't want to take payments from the. You don't want to pay the guy payments. So he wasn't very.
They don't want to owe a hitman no money.
Now
he wasn't very fucking smart.
Now the government's going to want to check your books and see okay, where did this $1,000 go? Where did this one go?
And I do have to put this out there though. This is what people don't understand that watch Tiger King. The only reason Joe's in jail, yes, I helped contribute to that, and I'm happy and content with what I did. But John Finley, his his friend or his ex-husband was the one that put the money together
And was able to
and
turn
that
him
sealed
in.
the conviction. So it wasn't even me. So
So
And I pointed it off to you guys
Can I
before we.
use the restroom?
No, please, go ahead.
Yeah,
Go
I'm
ahead.
so sorry. Yeah, y'all can keep
I
going.
pointed it out to you guys before we went live. Is if we had proof that Carole killed Don, every one of you guys and everybody who's watched Tiger King would want us to go to the feds and tell them what that information is. What's the difference? We took a person who we knew was killing animals and molesting children
yeah.
and molesting animals, and we turned him in. You know?
Yeah,
If we'd have looked away
Yeah.
and a child would have been killed, raped to death, or if you know, people would say, why the fuck didn't you guys say something? You saw this going on, you know? But you could-
Whoever puts Carole in jail is going to be a hero.
Oh yeah.
Because one thing during COVID, the only thing everybody in this world agreed on is that bitch killed her husband. That's it. You know, that's the only thing anybody ever agreed on in the whole world. I mean, I haven't heard one person say, "Oh, she's innocent." No, everybody, the bitch killed her husband. So, and we're going to try to do that with our new Tiger King series. We're going to try to put that bitch in jail. I mean, you can call me a rat the rest of my life. I don't care. As long as Carole's in jail, you know, everybody can live peacefully that has animals.
from what I'm gathering, Joe Exotica was an idiot. Right?
That's an understatement.
That's
but
an
yeah.
understatement. How was he not killed by a tiger?
Well, he was drugged around by his foot, and they tried to kill him, and he really was kind of scared of tigers.
Yeah, someone said he was scared of tigers, actually.
I mean,
He
he
was.
carried a gun in. I mean, you know, I went in with the same tigers he went in, and I never carried a gun. Because if you get to the point where you need to shoot a tiger, you're probably pretty well fucked.
Yeah.
Right.
And he carried that cane, which was fake. His leg was fine. It's funny. We filmed one day. He filmed his tiger show. He's limping around with his cane, telling people that a tiger knocked him out. You know, took it out his knee. And then we made this float to go down the Christmas parade, and we put baby tigers on it. So he's up there, and the kids are yelling, and he's got these bags of candy, and he's jumping off of this 4-foot hay wagon and running to these kids without his crutch. And I said, his knee just got.
Oh no! One day the feds noticed that he put the leg brace on the wrong knee.
Wrong leg. Yeah.
You gotta be consistent in your life.
And he was rear-ended in a car accident one time, and you know, he put on this neck brace and shit, and said he broke his back in like 4 places.
He called me up and said he broke his hip.
But 2 days later, he was perfectly fine, and he only wore the neck brace when people were around.
Attention whore.
Yeah, that's what he is, an attention whore like his lawyer. They're media whores. Joe wanted so hard to be famous, but look where it's got him.
Yeah, let's talk about
I just gotta ask about the because one of the things, the standout things in the Tiger King series was the diss videos that was going back and forth that he was making. Like
I saw time.
yeah. Did y'all get a kick out of any of that, or
Did what?
the diss videos that he was making going back and forth?
Well, you know, he didn't sing.
Yeah, that was not him.
He'd take us to lunch, and he'd put
He Milli Vanilli the game?
everything.
I have the contracts. I have
Oh, yeah.
every bit of proof to show. He paid a guy named Danny Clinton and Vince Johnson to write and sing his songs, and I have all the footage of him making his music videos, and his lips wouldn't even match the lyrics.
Oh, shit.
He's never
cannot.
sung. I mean, he sounds like this. You know, he's not.
Yeah, but it doesn't sound
That
like.
fucker can't sing.
Yeah, he sounds like a hillbilly, and he opens his mouth, Lou Rawls comes out. You know, it's
Yeah.
Like when Travis died,
Yes.
his husband that shot himself, at the funeral, it was all about Joe. It was not about Travis whatsoever. He was in front of Travis's family. He said,
I rescued him from
I
under a
rescued him
bridge.
from underneath the bridge. He was on all these drugs. That's not true whatsoever. Travis and his mother worked at the park. And then all of a sudden, Joe's like all in love with Travis. So now it's him and Travis.
So now you're gay.
yeah.
You weren't when you got here, but you are now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, at his funeral, Joe sang. And he said, I'm sorry, my voice is really rough from all the crying I'm going to do, but I'm going to do my very best right now to sing. And
He had on a tuxedo.
I was like, oh
I'm a
my
little
God,
nasally.
no.
you know that Here Kitty Kitty video,
Were you
Joe's.
here
Where?
at the funeral?
Yeah, he was there.
Yeah, the
Okay.
Here Kitty Kitty.
That's
Yeah.
laughing
The
my
Here
ass
Kitty
off at
Kitty
the bar in the
video.
back.
With his cowboy hat and his black tails.
Oh, yeah.
He wore that to the funeral, and he says, I wrote this special song for Travis, and it's going to be really difficult because I've been crying for days and days in my throat, and he
God.
showed his real voice.
Yeah.
One week after Travis died, he was on a date at Two Frogs with a new husband.
Got married
Yeah.
weeks later.
Joe, come
He
on.
mourns. It
Oh.
only takes him a week to mourn.
We were
They
so
done.
pissed off about that.
How do y'all think Joe feels right now to see that him for seeking all this fame he wanted for the past 20 so odd years, and then to get it, but he is incarcerated to not enjoy it? How do y'all think?
You know, I know he hates it, but I think what he hates more is that we got any level of fame out of it.
Oh yeah.
That'll do it.
Because y'all are the ops, quote unquote. Right?
So we post every picture we can.
Oh yeah.
I know who's it. I know it's
So what was the link between the actual end of taping versus the actual first episode of Netflix?
It was about 8 months, I think.
Oh, so yeah. So after 8 months, then it dropped, or
But
The whole show took 5 years.
Yeah,
but-
Oh, that's what I'm saying.
Why were y'all filming the whole? Why was so much film there?
yeah, because it was so
Oh,
detailed.
they claim that they've got 4,500 hours of footage.
There's a
or
lot of
something.
yeah,
footage
there's
in
a
there.
lot of footage.
They have enough to make a lot of more episodes.
Was it for a documentary or was it just for self gratification?
You know, it was
Supposed to be
no. It was this Eric Good who, if you look up Eric Good and there's an E on the end of Good, he owns some of the kinkiest and weirdest nightclubs in New York City, and he owns all these Bowery and the Jane hotels. I mean, the guy just sold us a piece of property he paid $5 million for $60 million. This guy is like in the $100 million tax bracket, and yet he fired all of his employees during COVID. All the restaurant employees just fired him. Yet he took $14 million or more, we're finding out, in PPP money. It's like, you know, so he's just one of these. Carole took PPP money. John Phillips, the attorney who sues everybody.
But he asked about the filming, like how long the filming took.
I'll get there.
Okay.
Took PPP money. You know, everybody, and here you got us and James running businesses where he's paying $100,000 a year or more in just liability insurance. We're feeding 250 tigers every single day, and we didn't take a dime of PPP money that we could have taken, but we didn't. Why do taxpayers have to pay for our eccentric hobbies? You know.
Right.
And so, but we're the frauds in Tiger King, and we're the con men. Fuck you all, you know.
Yeah.
We're the only ones who got up and busted our ass every day to pay our own way. And these attorneys and these producers just fuck the system. But they were filming for 5 years, and he wanted to do Eric Good wanted to do like a reptile expose, and somehow it turned into, and we can get into that because.
Before the murder plots.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he came back one day and Joe was gone. Joe had absconded. Joe knew that something was happening. He knew that we were recording him. He knew something was going bad. And he took off. And Eric Good shows up and he says, "Where's Joe?" He says, "You'll never see him again." And he goes, and I said, "I'm the new owner." I said, and he says, "Well, can we interview you?" So we went on the back porch and interviewed us. And we didn't tell him what was going on, but he was ready to rap. That was like in June or July. It was July of 2018. He was ready to rap.
Well, he told us that the filming was based on Carole Baskin
Yeah,
and
there's
her
going to be an
missing
expose
husband.
on Carole Baskin.
Yeah, he told all of us something different as to why he was filming.
And he told Carole Baskin was to end, you know, he just lied to
They
everybody.
played the producer. They played the producer.
None of us
reality.
even. None of us even know what network. What he's. He told me he was going to sell it overseas. Not too many people might watch it. And then the next fucking week, we're on Netflix.
And you're like, what the? So you literally found out when the world found out.
Yeah,
It was
I knew the
Holy
day
shit.
of. You know, that's him.
And we had entertainment attorneys tell us that it sold someplace between $36 and $100 million.
Did y'all see any of that or?
No.
Oh
No.
shit!
I mean, very little. He licensed some footage from us. But now when it came to us wanting to do Tiger King 2,
Then you gotta pay up.
3, 4, 5.
Yeah.
But is it interesting to y'all, right? Because I'm gonna just speak for me as a black man. When this came out, word of mouth with Netflix is something. It's just a powerful tool. Everybody's like, you gotta watch this, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so now you got all these these demographics that would have never been tapped into y'all's world that is tapped into y'all's world now. How has that changed for y'all? Like when y'all walk around and you got people like, oh shit, it's the Tiger King.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, last night, it was just, last night we had,
I love it. I love meeting. I love talking to people. I love saying hello. I mean, like, it's so nice. As we have not met anybody that's been really mean to us face to face. Of course, they're online.
all kinds of keyboard warriors.
The haters are all online, but the haters, when they see you, they're like, oh my God, I want to get a photo with you. And it's like, okay, yeah, sure, whatever. But we're not going to turn you down, but talk all the shit you want, but you're not going to do anything.
Like that, or?
You know what? It's cool. It's when you walk into a place like we did last night, and everybody calls you a legend and you're OG, and
He went to the goat.
I told my
the guy
mom
the
I
right
was.
way.
you see, you got the Tiger King.
It used to be only
You
my
definitely
mom.
know.
Only my mom thought this, and now all these strangers think this.
Jeff, when did you start wearing jewelry though? When did you start busting
Oh,
out the APs?
you know what? I
Shining
am
hard.
always.
He said always. I've been like
You know who I grew up as a kid, and Evel Knievel, Mr. USA, and Elvis. The guys who were so different than everyone else were my idols, and I ultimately grew up. I got pictures on my phone of me with Evel when I was 10 at a jump, and then I grew up to manage his son Robbie Knievel, and book. So everything that I've ever, Elvis. I was too young to have met Elvis. I was 11 when he died, but I knew Elvis's bodyguards. I mean, after Elvis died, these guys didn't know what to do, and they were broke. So I was buying all of the Elvis stuff that they had that Elvis had given them over the years. So Prince, I was a huge Prince fan. I mean, he's Prince is God to me. And I saw some of his clothes for sale one time on eBay, and I got on. I said, "Right, where'd you get these?" And she says, "I have trunks full of this stuff." And it ended up, long story short, I flew out to LA with a stack of cash and came back with 3 big military duffel bags full of Prince's costumes.
Oh, but say who you.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
yeah,
have
we
some
got
of it.
we got a few. But
And,
say who you got it from though.
I got it. So I got a lot of cash, and I call this number, and the guy says, "I'll pick you up at LAX baggage claim." Here comes this old, it looks like OJ's Bronco, and blacked out windows, and this really rough-looking dude in the front seat, and this really big, corn-fed woman in the passenger seat. She gets out and she says, "Get in." And I thought, oh shit. Yeah, and I look in the back seat, and Prince's ex-wife, Mayte,
It's
is in the
Mayte.
back seat.
It was her who was selling the clothes.
I said,
You're sitting on a gold mine.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
You're sitting on some
Well,
shit.
Prince sued me though.
No, damn. Are you serious?
He sued me.
Because you have his clothes?
Yeah, well, it wasn't because I had his clothes. It was because I was going to sell the clothes to the Hard Rock. And
He was stopping the sale.
yeah, Prince was suing me to try to get an injunction to stop the sale of the clothes until he could convince me that I'm a huge Prince fan and I shouldn't do this because it would, Prince was really conscious about his size. And
Exactly.
if you see Prince's clothes,
He's smaller. He's a
yeah,
smaller man.
it fits my baby.
Did you convince him?
Prince convinced me. Prince bought his clothes back.
Oh, wow.
You met?
Yeah.
Yeah, you met him and he
Prince,
bought his clothes back.
part of the deal was Prince sued me in federal court in Charleston, South Carolina.
But being sued by Prince was the best.
Bro, that's the littest shit.
Authenticity.
That's the littest shit ever.
The cop, or the judge says, my attorney says, I have no idea where these guys are coming from. What you did is perfectly legal. You bought it, now you're going to resell it. He says, so I'm going to sit in the back. I'm going to put you up and let you talk to the judge. And the judge says, Mr. Lowe, tell me the story. So I told him, what I just told you guys. And he says, well, what's this stuff worth? And I said, well, Hard Rock's willing to give me $300,000 for it. And I said, that's based on me telling him it's authentic.
Yes.
Now I've got Prince suing me to stop.
So here's the
said,
documents that come with it.
This is the best letter of authenticity I could ever get.
Right.
And I said, so I got to believe that the value is much higher. And he says, you need to thank Prince's lawyers. And I said, thanks, guys.
Authentication.
So he's like, Your Honor, can we have a recess? And we went out in the hallway, and I got Prince on the phone. And Prince, after we hammered out a negotiation, Prince was like, I'm going to fly you and your family first class to Minneapolis. We'll put you up in the West End to bring you to Paisley Park for an after show. And
That's a fan. That's
yeah,
amazing.
so then that started not a close relationship, but then Prince had other clothes he had those Glam Slam clubs in, I think, Chicago and Miami and in Minneapolis, and he closed them down. Well, he left trunks and trunks of clothes, and the guy who managed all the clubs took all the clothes. He contacted me. He says, I see that you buy Prince clothes. I said, bring it up, brother. So, so I bought, and I would help kind of get some of the stuff off the market for Prince. When amazing. Prince died, I was paying $900 for a pair of Prince boots. Okay, I had a whole row. Right after he died, a pair sold for $75,000 at auction. Not mine, but they were ugly yellow ones, and I had the cool ones. So yeah.
You had purple one. Yeah, like purple and red.
As you know where it's at with the Prince memorabilia.
Yeah, Prince it's crazy off the hook.
Now, and you also mentioned Evel Knievel being able to be a fan at 11, 10 years old, and then go to manage them. And
then grow up, and I got pictures. I'll show you. I'll leave you pictures. You can put it on.
Yeah, please do.
My office has, I don't know, there's probably 70 sets of leathers and 15 or 20 of the motorcycles in my office. All the memorabilia. I owned the big Evel Knievel semi truck, and I sold it to the Harley Davidson Museum.
And you owned the Elvis jumpsuits too.
I've got 5 Elvis jumpsuits.
Oh man, amazing! How you feel they did on the Elvis movie that just recently did?
You do what? You know what? Austin Butler did a good job.
Oh, it was great. I loved it.
That's who's tougher to play and not be criticized than Elvis Presley.
Exactly. You have to get a lot of things right.
It's just like if anybody ever tries to do the Prince story, that guy better be, he better be really good. And Austin Butler did a commendable job.
There you go. Got it. All right, so
did you watch Joe versus Carole on NBC Peacock?
On Peacock.
It's on Peacock.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't seen it, but
it's like an actual TV series, right?
Yeah.
They actually did a really good job casting
Kate
all of
McKinnon
us.
from Saturday Night Live played Carole, nailed it.
Okay.
And it was funny because they have an Alan Glover, they have a James Garretson, they have a Lauren, they have a Jeff.
That's gonna make me watch it now.
It was fun. It was fun to watch.
Because they actually got the story more right than I feel like Netflix did.
I think it was more of the truth than Netflix.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, more versus narrative.
They showed the real Joe, I think, in my opinion.
They showed Joe killing tigers, just going up and shooting them in the head. They did show that, but they also showed you getting into the fight with Joe in the office. Yeah. So they actually paid attention to our version and our recordings because there's proof of it all.
So Jeff, tell me about the fight with Dylan in regards to like how everything kind of played out at the very end.
Dylan was a young 20-year-old or 21-year-old cheerleader that Joe found on Grindr.
Damn.
And right after Travis died, moved him into the park and married him 2 or 3 months later or weeks later.
I don't know.
Well, he was with them a week or 2 later, like having dinner with him and stuff.
We heard, now that you mention it, we heard that Joe was meeting Dylan up at the Safari Bar and Travis found out.
Oh, yeah.
And that could have been,
That probably could have been another
Joe
thing.
had to have 2 or 3 boy toys at one time.
It's,
But,
I mean, we're good with Dylan now.
Dylan's fine. I mean, Dylan.
Yeah, we
Dylan's
hashed it all
apologized
out.
several times, but it was one morning. I mean, he'd drive by us and he'd flip us off. And
Because
Joe
was telling him bad things about
I'd say,
us.
this motherfucker, you better put your little bitch on a leash because shit's gonna go bad. I'll throw him off this property. I own the property, and I can't stand the drama. You caused the drama, Joe. You caused all this drama. So one morning we're carrying a baby tiger. We used to raise
carrying one. You were
all the
carrying
baby
one.
tigers in our cabin that we had at the zoo, and he turns the fucking garden hose on us, and I said, all right, that's it. And we just got into a fight on the parking lot.
Yeah.
Was it really 15 minutes?
No,
Of
it
what?
was not.
The fight? No,
No,
fuck.
God, no.
Okay.
5 minutes, 3
No.
minutes.
It
Fuck,
was.
I couldn't go 15 minutes.
That's a long time.
15
Yeah.
minutes of sex kills me.
Right. Speak it, brother. Speak it. Now, so I have to ask because this. We're in Dallas, and of course, Thackerville, Oklahoma is right up. It's right up the road. As far as just Oklahoma and Texas are neighbors. That we've seen tigers in the backyards of Oak Cliff, Texas.
I
Like
ain't saying
literally.
nothing. No.
I'm just curious. How does one get a hold of a tiger?
I could help you. I could help you with that because I had a tiger in the backyard in Oak Cliff, Texas.
Oh damn! So this is normal.
Yeah,
He's
so,
the OG right here.
Yeah, right. He's
yeah,
OG.
I bought a tiger out of the Dallas Morning. Was actually a lion cub out of the Dallas Morning News back in '95
Oh wow.
for like $800, $700, $800, and I had it at my house in Oak Cliff, right there at Davis and Westmoreland.
Damn.
And back then we didn't have social media, so it was cool. Nobody really ratted you out or anything.
Yeah.
Nobody had recording phones. You know, we had bag phones and shit. Nobody, you know,
$1.35
it was a
a
whole
minute.
lot better living back in the day anyway, when we didn't have all the social media. So I bought a tiger or lion being a dumbass.
But it
out of
was
the
legal
newspaper.
then. It was
legal.
It was legal.
Yeah.
So just curiosity from tigers and lions to raise one as a cub or a pup or whatever you call it, I guess.
Cub.
Cub.
It gets to a certain point where okay, we have to. It's too big. Like
2 years they start to mature.
okay,
And
so 2 years.
I'm not going to say they couldn't kill you before 2, but you'd stand a good chance, especially somebody your
I
size.
mean, as long as you're working with them every day.
You're going to be able to finish it. You probably would. But once they get 500 pounds, they get on top of you, and one bite to the neck and you're done.
Yeah.
But we, it's happened a couple times. I got lucky a couple times.
I had my lion for 21 years when I bought her.
Damn.
Yeah. But he
And it
grew
depends
up.
on the cat. I mean, I grew up with cats, and my
Yeah,
family
and
was in a circus.
You
and-
had tigers in a crib when you were a baby, so.
Just like I've got pictures in a crib where I've got tigers in a playpen, not a crib. And now we've got hundreds of
Pictures of
pictures
her.
of her with baby lions and tigers, Oh yeah.
Oh, she's
Yeah.
great with the cubs.
Yeah.
Oh, it's amazing.
No, he means you trust the cubs with the baby.
Oh, I trust her with them. So.
Yeah. And she still plays with the baby.
Oh yeah, she loves them.
But it's they're not great pets. And they're not for everybody.
It's a responsibility for sure.
But I'd rather have a tiger than a hippo, And
Yeah, I got a question. How lucrative is the underground tiger market?
I don't think
I
it's
don't
nearly
think
what
I
they
don't
say it is.
know.
And
not
That
worth
would
the
be a
risk.
joke.
The
That would
argument-
be a joke question.
The argument that I've always
Joke
wanted
question.
is they've said, PETA will come out and say there's 10,000, there's 10,000 tigers in captivity. Okay, now they'll say there's 4,700 left in India and there's 3,600 left. Okay, at what point are they no longer endangered? Do they have to back up that number of what's in captivity and take them off the endangered species list? Then all of us could have one.
It's an
Right.
expensive hobby.
It is very expensive.
You know, it's like raising a child. You got to feed it every day. You got to water, veterinary care. It's just like a kid.
And we were feeding us
So-
6,000 pounds of meat a day.
6,000 pounds of meat. So what do you say when you see like a Mike Tyson when he was raising
You know
had
what?
tigers back then?
I'm not going to pick on Mike because I don't want.
Yeah, I don't,
We
so I don't want
all
this smoke.
like
I don't want this.
We all like
I
Mike.
don't want
But
those hands.
he loved first the doves, before he got into professional boxing, and then it became tigers.
Well, he lived next to Wayne Newton, and
He did.
and Wayne owned Las Vegas. I mean, he owned all the county, and the city commissioners. So he helped Mike get a permit to keep them. And even Mike to this day says, that's the dumbest thing I'm ludicrous.
Yeah,
and,
right.
But I bet you'd do it again if it was a 20-year-old Mike Tyson. He'd do it again.
It's such a flex to say
Because,
I have a pet tiger.
Yeah, you know who else? Shaq.
Oh, wow, Shaq owned tigers.
Well, he sponsored a lot of our cats too.
Yeah, I mean, Shaq loves tigers.
LSU.
Shaq loves tigers.
Oh, yeah.
And if Shaq could legally have them in his all Georgia house and everything, I know he would do it.
Yeah.
It's just it's a status thing. For us, it wasn't a status thing.
Right.
We had a love for it though. We had a love.
I mean, we
for the
weren't in the
animals.
news. Nobody knew who the hell we were. So for us to have them is a love. For Tony Montana to have one was a flex. And
Biggest facts.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they found that one in Houston not too long ago. Who'd they belong to?
I bet it was that woman.
Yeah, Trish Myers probably.
People are just turning them loose, when they can't.
Yeah.
And
So-
that makes it look bad on all of us.
So, all right, I want to talk about a couple guys from, the show real quick and just stats, what's going on with them. For Doc Antel,
I'm leaving that up to y'all.
yeah. What are your thoughts as far as him being behind? Like, do you look at him like Joe Exotica as far as, the treatment of animals and things like that? Do you put him in the same boat?
He's a piece of shit, like Joe. Well, Doc, what he does is he breeds cubs nonstop and dumps them or incinerates them.
Mm-hmm.
He's not yeah, because what happens is the tiger's only good from like 4 to 16 weeks, legal to take pictures with him. Now you really can't technically because this new law that passed. Well, he's doing it now because he's using plexiglass. So even if he makes $100,000 a cub or whatever, you still have to feed this thing for 20 something years. So he just destroys them. And a lot of those people just, it's all about money and not about the animal.
Yeah,
he's not a good guy.
Joe idolized Doc Gamble.
Yeah.
And he tried to do his Oklahoma Hillbilly Zoo to match that Myrtle Beach place. And the Myrtle Beach place is really super nice. And Doc was making upwards of $50,000 a day with his tours. It's $360 for a tour. And our tours, and but Doc is smart. He put it in Myrtle Beach.
We're talking Myrtle Beach.
Joe
That's a vacation spot.
in Wynnewood, Oklahoma, where there's
Dirty
cows.
No one goes there for vacation, yeah.
Well, Doc was a front too. His place was nice with the public scene.
Right.
Behind the scenes, animals live in little shitty ass cages.
In the dark, under a barn.
Yeah, it's
The dungeon is what they kind of called it. Yeah.
and it's all an illusion, and Doc's smarter. But Doc, like Joe, likes underage girls. Joe likes underage boys.
But they
They're
both like
basically
attention.
The same.
Yeah.
Yeah, they crave the attention.
He's in a lot of trouble. I mean, I don't know if his family has a grocery wholesaling businesses.
I thought they were into bananas or something.
We heard Chiquita, but now they're just like grocery wholesalers. I think.
Okay.
But they were making $800 million a year or something. So his family's got the money, I think, to buy him out of trouble. But he's got a lot of charges. He's got money laundering and human trafficking, and we'll have to see. He goes to trial in July, I think. But.
Oh, they officially put a date in?
The story's still being told. The story's still being told.
Yeah, you're not even...
This is I don't think this is going to end.
Yeah, whenever you look at Tiger King, you look into one person and it goes deeper and deeper and deeper. And when we start doing our homework, I'm like, man, this is
You go down
really
a rabbit
gets
hole.
deep. This goes to sheriffs.
Yeah.
This goes to corrupt politicians.
Who has the money? Who has the money?
Yeah, I mean, it's... Carole Baskin people.
Jeffrey Epstein's going to come into this watch.
Jeffrey Epstein's going to, wow. Oh, hold on. Hold on. So Jeff, I have to ask you then, what's your relationship now with Tim, as far as Tim Stark?
Tim is... Tim's just a dumbass. I mean,
Tim is his own worst enemy. He doesn't know when to shut up. He just runs his mouth.
You guys see him talk.
I see him like, you're just talking now. You just...
I mean, it's... Oh, God.
You kind of...
He hurt himself.
I mean, we're kind of out there, and we just look at him and shake our heads.
Oh my
Even
God,
the directors of Tiger King call me and just say, "How the fuck did you tolerate this?"
It was not a...
And I told him, I said, "You're going to lose your license." He as soon as Joe was out of the picture, he called me up and wanted to be my partner in a zoo. And I knew he had a shitload of animals that were really, expensive animals. And I thought, well, that'd be an instant way to populate the zoo with all kinds of cool animals. And he had millions of dollars worth of equipment that his 501c3 had purchased, front end loaders and excavators and bobcats and bulldozers. I said, yeah, let's do it. I know you're a hard worker, but he's the biggest bullshitter you've ever met. And,
He's the biggest shit talker, not...
Yeah, he's just shit talker. You get in his face and he'll melt.
He'll collar,
Jeez Louise. So...
I feel sorry for Tim. I mean, Tim...
Yeah, he seemed like he's...
Tim was targeted, and I think Tim was targeted more than Joe was targeted. They put a ban on him from ever owning an animal again.
Yeah, it's like,
I got to step out for 1 second.
Yeah.
So, and this is just really... good, James about to head out. So
no, I'm just going to hit the rest.
Tell Joe I said hi.
For y'all two, people look at y'all's lifestyle.
Yeah.
They have questions, they have concerns, but they also have admiration.
Yeah.
Jeff, a lot of young men probably like, man, this is what I want to live.
Getting more pussy.
Yeah, right. I want to live up to this guy. I mean, so how's that going? I mean, we've seen the original Natty Search. We've seen how that played out. I forget her name as far as the one that was on Tiger King 1.
Masha,
yes. That played out.
She's a smoker. She's hot.
right. She's hot as shit.
But she's really nice. She's actually a sweet girl.
Yeah, so how does that work as far as the dynamic of y'all's relationship? Y'all are married, and yet...
You know what? I was married for 26 years, and I wasn't a good husband because I was on the road, with the Knievel's and the opportunities to just fuck up you know,
Was right there.
every corner. Just imagine, you know, or whoever, you know.
Knievel's, yeah.
It's a good excuse.
And she, you know, and eventually that destroyed my first marriage. And the second one, I just knew was going to have to be one, somebody could keep up with me. My first wife couldn't keep up with, let's go to the club every weekend. She would never go to the club. Right. So, you know, what had become my, you know, my passion, my fun, I couldn't do, you know, and with her, it's like, okay, and you know, what better deterrent for cheating is there than say, you know, fuck her, you know,
right.
Just as long as I'm there, just as long as I'm part of it, you know, and it works. I mean, it's worked for us.
A lot of men would love that same scenario where, like, it's not even the word cheating. It's like that's like I'm lying.
It's like a hall pass, you know, for
it's
like.
Yeah.
So I have to ask then. You know, I seen the situation where Code 69 has come up.
Yeah.
And you know,
I should have trademarked that.
Yeah, right. You should trademark that Code 69 on shirts, please. Somebody might, you know, come visit the zoo, and you know, I don't want to call them prospects, but something might be tangible.
Well, you know, you can't get on the radio and say, "Hey, Alan, look at that chick on the sidewalk." You know,
you can't do that. You can't do that.
It got to the point. It was just a joke for a while because, you know, you got to realize we weren't the Tiger King Park. We were this little backwoods zoo, and you know we might have 15 customers a day, but then when we had, you know,
500 cars pull up.
Yeah, you know, when you got 1,500.
Well, Alan was getting bad at it. Alan would be on. I was like, I'd have to get on the radio and be like, Alan, shut the fuck
So we
up.
needed.
Yeah, it sounds wild. Code 69.
Because, you know, code 10 was animal died. We had 10 codes.
Yeah, there were actual codes that we have to say on the radio.
Yeah, but you don't want to get on the radio. We got a dead cat, and you know, so it was, you know,
Code 10,
code
ain't caged.
Code 9 was
something.
like, get the fuck out of the park, something's loose. And you know, we all had numbers. Joe was A1, I was A5, red.
I was red.
So we tried to, and Carole Baskin would have cars sit on the interstate.
And they would
you
have
gotta
Listen
radios.
to our VHF radios, so she knew what was going on. How many, you know, because we'd get on the radio, Joe would say, all right, I need cameraman, we got 300 people on this tour. So Carole could do the math. She knew how much money Joe was making to go, you know, to try to get her 800 grand that Joe owed her. So everything we did was kind of encrypted, and Code 69 was just the easy way.
It was more of a joke, but it ends up being fun.
Yeah, it turns out.
I'll tell you the funniest story.
Go ahead. Realize
Oh, God,
yourself.
what?
We had this really cute girl that showed up to do playtime,
Oh,
and I
son
told
of
Lauren.
a bitch, this one.
I told Lauren, I said, get her number. I said, just give her number. So it ends up, I don't know how
She ended up working at the zoo.
she ended up working at the
zoo.
zoo. She ended up living in our cabin, and we took her all over the place. And then she started to like.
She started to get.
She started like
There
sending
was
me.
nothing.
She didn't want to be open. She wanted to like.
At this
have-
time, it was not an open
yeah,
thing.
She was.
Behind.
Yeah, and Lauren was like,
I was-
because I was showing her the text, you know, she's saying, I never wanted somebody so much in my life, and
I was
Lauren says,
pissed.
all right, fuck
Yeah,
that.
right, yeah, wait a minute. Yeah,
So,
Because she was doing it behind my
yeah, exactly.
back.
Like, I understand, but yeah, we're trying to, hey, let's
Right.
keep it
Like,
open.
you're living in my house. You're doing this behind my back. I'm going to confront you.
Jeff,
So
you're a
Lauren-
real one, man. You're a real one.
Lauren kicks her out, and I can't even mention this girl's name
Right.
You're good now.
without the, you know.
Yeah, no, hey, you're a real one.
The
To
only
show her
time.
and say, hey, this is what's going on.
So one day, a year later, maybe 2 years later,
It's 2 years later for sure.
we're walking through the zoo, and I see this fine-looking thing from the back.
And I see,
I didn't pay attention
I
to
see
it.
my friend Lindsay, who's also an employee, talking to this girl, and I got on the radio,
Jeff.
and I'm heading to
Yeah.
to a whole different building, and I said,
A5.
A5, code 69, and all of a sudden,
She turned.
she turned around and it was her, and I died. I fell over, and Lindsay was laughing.
Everybody cracked up,
she was
didn't
like, all she said was, Lauren's going to kill me. She's going to kill me.
That
I
was
didn't
funny.
tell her she was on park. And I was like, Son of a bitch.
That was really funny day.
That's
Oh
hilarious.
God.
But then Tiger King 2 tries to sound it in like make it some predator. You
No,
know,
it was just more of like a fun
Jason
little joke.
Hansen. You know,
So you mentioned an OnlyFans account, of course, to get ahead of it. So how is
Yeah.
that as far as that's new, but that's a source of revenue?
Yes, it is.
So Lauren, how's it to have an OnlyFans and to be able to, put content out and content to exist outside of you putting it out?
I get to be me. I get to show me. I'm not afraid to show my body. I'm happy. I'm satisfied. And there's going to be people out there that are going to be like, "Oh, you shouldn't do that. You should have more morals." And it's like, no, I'm going to be me. I'm not going to live by your standards, and I'm not going to have some guy tell me what I can and cannot do.
or some
Cha-ching,
cheap.
cha-ching.
Yeah, I mean, and,
Yeah,
and
it's money.
I'll laugh to the
I was like, it's money, and I do well at it,
there's
and I'm
girls
happy.
in Dallas who are making several $1 million a year that we know. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah, absolutely. So I enjoy being on OnlyFans. Yes, there's X-rated stuff up there, but that's for PPV stuff, and it's,
I tried
like it.
OnlyFans, but nobody was buying it.
Wow.
I tried.
Because you got really ugly feet.
But the good thing is, the best
Yeah,
part is,
okay.
I have a husband that is there, like, rooting for me and supporting me through the entire thing. So he's not, like, backing, like, telling me, you shouldn't do this or anything. He's there, like, supporting me throughout the entire
It's
thing.
just a rare relationship where there's just no jealousy. I mean,
That's loud.
she ain't
How do
gonna
you
leave.
get
She
to
ain't
that?
gonna leave OG, and I'm not gonna
It
leave
took a while.
You know,
It wasn't like they were like, walking on eggshells every now and then, but then we're like, okay, we need to open up
Right.
more about this. And
Yeah, so like, how did you bring to him like, yeah, I want to do OnlyFans? Like, how does that conversation?
oh,
I don't even know the
I
first
don't
time we did it.
remember. I don't
No.
remember how it started. I think it was more like we heard about
we were
other
probably
girls.
rolling and said,
We heard of other girls that we
Seems
were
like a good
like
idea.
friends with. They were like, you should try OnlyFans.
Yeah.
And of course, it was after Tiger King came out, and I was like, all right. I mean, already have a bunch of this content, so
I mean, what guy doesn't want a wife that brings home chicks?
yeah, I know. So
I mean,
enjoyed
really?
it.
So you hear like people like Black China be like, "Oh, I made $250 million in OnlyFans," and people are going like, "Holy shit!" Like,
I
wait a
know.
minute. Is like, what is the most lucrative? What do you think is the biggest amount average woman that can make on OnlyFans? Like, what do you think?
you know,
Yeah, I feel like it just depends on who you are too.
we've got a
Well,
lot
see,
of.
y'all are kind of like y'all are celebrities, so
What's the Tiger King
y'all have
like?
yeah. What is you were the first woman on Tiger King that like you have your own lane. Like it's
If
kind of
you
like
keep up
Just
on
remember
it.
the tax man.
I
Remember
know.
the tax
If you
man.
right. Allegedly,
not as much
not
as
you, not you per se.
What can you potentially
What
make?
can you potentially make?
you know, you could potentially make
Millions.
$1 million a year without a problem.
Yeah.
And if you worked at it,
How do you recruit? Like, how do you? Because I seen a post where you said I might show up to the club with your girl. I might leave with your girl. Like, how does that work for you on
well, see,
recruitment?
we've got this mansion down in Mexico that
Oh,
I'll show you pictures. It was built to resemble the Versace mansion, and the people who owned our condo is. She came to me and she says, "You just have this marketing mind. Can you help me do this?" And I said, she took us over to it, and I said, "Fuck, this isn't
You have a
fucking
gold
OnlyFans
mine.
mansion.
Yeah, you've
this,
got a gold mine
Quit
here."
Airbnb-ing this thing for $75 because it was like, I'll show you pictures. This is crazy." So I said, okay, we've got an OnlyFans mansion right here. We'll stream cameras and we'll bring, So that's what we're doing now.
Yeah.
So
So all you girls out there,
all you girls that want
if
to
you
make
need
$1
some
million
extra
a
money,
year,
hit us up. We'll put you to work.
wait, I'm curious.
well, she's got the advantage of being able to help. Let's say your girlfriend wanted to do OnlyFans, but she can. Who's going to subscribe? Well, if she fucks Lauren Lowe and gets put on Lauren Lowe's OnlyFans, and Lauren Lowe tags her,
And now
she's
my
got
all
my
of her-
subscribers
all of
want to
her
go to them
followers
and then
and just say,
check
"God
them
damn,
out."
that girl."
Hey,
you
cheat
know,
code.
But for you,
So-
Jeff, like, how did?
I just why,
Did
I mean,
ego
yeah.
never kick in for you?
Do I?
Did ego never kick in for you personally? Like,
Oh, dude,
because
I'm
I mean, just from the
buddy.
aspect of how much money she can make, right? Because
No,
you're
because
like,
I
damn,
made.
my baby over here making M's. Like, I'm not saying she is.
No, it's nice for a change, just takes the pressure off of.
You being the
You can take more risks in your own life
There you go.
with businesses. Do I want to invest in a jet ski? Do I want to invest in Tiger King 4? Yeah, if I lose a little bit, she'll make it up.
There you go.
So it
Yeah.
takes that heat off, and it allows us to. We don't work. I mean, we don't work.
There you go. Okay, have you ever thought about bringing like a tiger in?
You know what? She's got pictures, naked pictures with baby tigers.
Oh shit!
But
Subscribe.
there's a fine line, even OnlyFans, I think, have rules. You can't have, any child in the background of a picture. And animals get to be a little bit like Joe Exotic, but
it's more like
posing with
laying
a
in
tiger.
bed, taking a nap. I've fallen asleep in bed, and like one of the cats will just come over and just like cuddle with
I
me or
got more
something.
pictures of white tigers laying on her naked butt.
Even
asleep.
Joe
Yeah.
Exotic takes pictures with animals naked.
That happens.
The sad part is, I think this kangaroo might have got herpes.
Yeah.
Oh man. Damn. Goddamn, Joe.
I had to put it out there, but I do have the proof. Here's one, and I have thousands more.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Season 4.
I gotta. What is too high to pay for an OnlyFans account? Because some of these girls be like
Well, you know
The
$79.99.
max,
The max is 50
$50.
bucks.
50? Okay,
And
what
that's
it
what
is?
mine is.
Hers is 50.
50.
And
Tiger's worth it.
but you know what? When Bella Thorne first started, hers was
$250.
$250.
Yeah,
She fucked it up for everybody.
People paid that and were like, "What the fuck?"
Well,
is
because
And
she
she said
promised
she said
them.
that there was X-rated material, which
Yeah, she
apparently
promised
there
them all this
wasn't.
content
She
would be
asked
up there, and it
them to save
wasn't.
Yeah, but like overnight, she made
She made $1 million in
24 hours or
24
something.
hours or something like that. So it's just kind of like, well, fuck.
But OnlyFans
ruined
claims
it.
that they've paid out $5 billion.
I believe it.
And,
There's some horny
Sometimes
ass
I wish I was
motherfuckers.
born a woman.
Have y'all ever thought about doing like a podcast? I mean, y'all's lane is so like unique.
We've been on a lot, but to host one ourselves, she's actually
I just started
she
hosting
started
one with my
her and one of her
friend.
friends.
Amazing.
Yes.
Polar opposite,
What's the name of it? If you don't mind.
Ginger Power Hour.
Ginger Power Hour. We like
But
it.
she's a redhead too, and she and I are like complete opposites.
But they grew up best friends.
Yeah, we're best
amazing.
friends. We've known each other since we were like brownies and Girl Scouts. So
You
it's
should do
like
a pod
we're
with
back-
Sylvester Stallone's daughter. She's a ginger as well.
Oh yeah,
Sylvester
yeah.
Stallone's daughters.
she's hot too.
Yes,
A
yeah.
ginger?
I would love to see that on
I didn't
camera.
know his
Look into
daughters
it.
are hot.
Hopefully she'll see this. And
All of his.
Oh my
into all of
God,
his
yes,
daughters.
I
Did
love that.
you see when
his daughters.
Stallone's family
His girls.
dressed up like the
Every
Tiger King?
character.
Oh, yeah. See, look at that. Look at the social.
Yeah.
I mean, just the phenomenon you guys have brought. Now I have to ask. Then they recently said you guys had they stopped you guys from being able to exhibit.
In the United States.
In the
in the
United
United States.
States.
So therefore,
Yeah.
what for them to come at you guys like that, and therefore for them to win it, and therefore now, hey, United States, but we also have Mexico, we have Canada, we have everywhere else. How do you guys navigate that?
What they did is they wanted to take out the private zoo industry, period, everybody. So when they came in and rated our animals and said that they were unhealthy, then they found out, well, they had to get health certificates to move them, and the vet said they're all healthy. The government's all vet says, yeah, they're perfectly healthy to move.
Yep.
Let's say, so now you get into a courtroom and they say, your animals are unhealthy, just say, well, then how did you move them? And
we have
did you
all these
falsify
videos.
vet records to move them because you're the federal government? And when we started to produce hundreds of thousands of dollars of annual veterinary bills and animal care in the records, they were like, okay, Carole Baskin lied to us, that cunt. So it got to the point where just that raid on our property probably cost taxpayers $500,000. And we were going to be stuck with that bill. We were going to be charged with animal neglect and moving animals without a license. I had the fucking license. So we got a call one day and just say, DOJ just said they're going to drop all charges and you don't have to pay any fees.
Yeah.
In exchange, but you can't get your animals back because they've sent them all over the fucking planet. I said, great. So in exchange, you just agree not to apply for another USDA license. And I said, I don't want another USDA. Fuck the USDA. It's a bunch of corrupt people run by Carole Baskin.
And what they did when they raided, it was people, unless you've been raided before.
Fucking machine guns in our face.
They had AK-47s. They put them in our daughter's face.
There, yeah.
Yeah, they put them in our daughter's face. She was sleeping in her crib. They were like going in through all of our doors. And I was like, oh my God. I was like, my
They set up
daughter's life is in risk.
Satellite vans on our property for.
Oh,
it's
God,
like,
it was
what
bad.
The fuck, El Chapo's
Armored
not here, I
vehicles.
promise you.
They had armored vehicles
Yeah.
everywhere. And it was like, what the fuck?
Show
It
of
was
force,
bad.
just to show it.
Just to take our animals to GFAS sanctuaries.
Yeah,
guess
where
who?
they- yeah, this-
Guess who? Guess
Guess
who
who
the
owns it?
GFAS is? Carole Baskin. Guess where every one of our cats went? GFAS facilities.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
They didn't go to the AZA zoos. They didn't go to
Yeah.
other private zoos. They went to GFAS. So who do you think is behind the whole goddamn thing? That cunt,
That
Carole
bitch,
Baskin.
Carole Baskin.
God,
Our government's so corrupt, though.
It's
There's
crazy.
so much corruption. It's
So
unreal.
you know what?
Carole Baskin lives
I
up to
said
all
you,
her. She lives up to
No, she's a
all
mean
the
bitch.
hating animals. She really lives up to it to this day. Like,
Well, I told them, I said, you know what? Nobody's going to be able to open one of these things in the United States anymore. But I'm not married to the United States. If they're going to fuck me, I'll go to Mexico and live the American dream. And I don't know if you guys been to Mexico, but it's beautiful.
There's actually more Americans and Canadians moving to Mexico
On a daily
right
basis,
now, on
yeah.
a daily basis. Like where we live, there's a bunch of Canadians and a bunch of
Yeah, it's
Americans
looking
that live
almost like
around
the
us.
US, I'm
So
assuming.
In our lifestyle,
Yeah.
is conducive to Fifth Avenue and Playa del Carmen. 5th and 12th is nothing but nightclubs.
Yeah,
and
so it's
nice coco bongos and thousands and thousands of people want to party every single night of the week.
and we're
every city.
surrounded by wildlife too.
Yeah.
Oh, it's amazing. So we
So-
got jaguars and monkeys and all them around us. So I love it. It's great.
I
So, you got 8 million tourists come in. They, if they want to pay $100, he goes, we could only get $35 for a ticket in Wynnewood, Oklahoma. You can get $100. You might get $200, down in Cancun to come see. So it's a win-win. And Carole Baskin has zero influence in Mexico.
there you go, man.
And,
there you go. There you go. So, for those that do want to see kind of what's going on next with Jeff Lowe and of course James, and Lauren, what's next? I mean, are we talking Tiger King season 4?
Yes.
Okay.
And Netflix is where we want to take it.
There you go.
But if Netflix doesn't give us a little bit more creative control, Hulu also wants it, and Amazon Prime. So we have, we have the ability now to. We want complete editorial control of this one.
There you go.
And,
Yes.
The
and
story's
we're
not
gonna
over.
We're going to show how Jeffrey Epstein plays in this. We're going to show how Carole Baskin and Don Lewis knew Jeffrey Epstein. And it's a story that just keeps living,
It does.
As soon as you wrap your final episode, there'll be something come out.
Yeah, like that'll drop after
Yeah.
the day after you wrap. This drops.
So much has happened since Tiger King 2 kind of sucked. I mean, it was such a
They brought in new producers too, and
You
it
can
was
tell it
just
was
like,
a different.
So
It
staged.
was so
Yeah.
different. It was not.
It sucked.
They took us to Zaza, Zaza
Like a Hotel
Hotel,
Zaza, yes.
and wheeled in all this gear and said, they're afraid we're filming a porn up there, so they said we can't film it. And
Yeah.
yet they filmed us up there, and he flies in. We had this cute
go
girl
back
living
and
with
use
us
the
in Las Vegas. They fly her in so that they can put him in bed with us, and which never, we never went to bed with this girl, but
wow.
they just staged it all. And
Yeah, exactly.
but we were, pay us, we don't care.
Yeah, pay us. Yeah, we'll say. But you know how that goes as far as going forward. Okay. So.
But James is actually, they're shopping. They want to do a reality show. Lauren and I have been offered, and we turned down a couple. We're just looking for the right one. And James now is, I'll let you talk.
Yeah.
I pretty much have something worked out with my jet ski operation and the nightlife. I'm a partier, I club, get fucked up, all that stuff.
Love
So
it.
I have somebody interested in my project, and it's going to be about the water sports, the jet ski business, the nightlife, with a bunch of crazy characters around me. And we're going to pretty much start in June shooting that. And they came to me. I didn't go to them. I didn't know this Tiger King was going to do this, but it did give us some opportunities to do other things.
There you
And
go.
I just started a podcast, and it's kind of sloppy now, trying to put it together.
What's the name of the podcast?
It's going to be Anything Goes with James.
I like it.
And it's basically, we have one episode out now, and it's basically me, Jeff, and Lauren talking for the first time, because the director of Tiger King kind of drove wedges between me and Jeff, and like our friendship and stuff. He was playing us against each other. So for a while there, we had a mutual hatred, and we were like, we got to put this shit aside, and we have to defend ourselves and show the world we're not who they think we are. We do have some good in us, and
Oh, you have to go
this
potty?
director had a motive, and that's what we want to show. he's not going to be happy with us trying to do another Tiger King 4 because he's going to be exposed too, because we're digging into his past and stuff. So, you know, I think it's going to happen. It's going to happen pretty soon, and move on to another project.
Oh yeah, no. If
such a good
Hulu or
baby.
Amazon could try to bury Netflix any kind of way, I'm sure they'll jump on opportunity to say, "Hey,
You know who the first person who wanted to buy our story was?
who's that?"
Shaq.
Seriously?
Shaq was
Yeah.
at the park the day Joe got arrested.
Oh damn.
Yeah. And
That was just like a total coincidence.
Yeah, and
he was
he
coming to
says,
visit his
"Well,
cat.
And cameras were out, like filming
yeah,
for
there
Joe.
were
also?
the news crews were there.
Oh.
And he goes, I want to buy their story. You guys sell me the rights to your story. And I wish I would have.
Yeah, it's like God.
Shaq could have bankrolled us real easy.
That'd have been crazy. That'd have been
I
interesting.
wonder how he knew about it. Like,
Well, you know, he stopped. Shaq goes to all these little small zoos and plays with baby tigers. And he stopped at ours in years before Lauren and I were involved. And he met Joe. And he just, every once in a while, you'd look up and there'd be, 9 feet of dark cloud coming down the sidewalk.
Just walking up.
Yeah. And it'd
But
be
he's
Shaq
like
and
one
his
of the
friend.
nicest
Yeah,
guys.
he's super nice.
He's so nice and sweet.
Oh,
yeah.
no, he's
But-
very entrepreneurial spirit too.
Yeah.
yeah.
And he's funny. I mean, he's funny.
So definitely, I want to be able to have you guys, of course, Lauren, you as well, promote. Again, whatever's coming next, outside of trying to shop for a new network to put, this explosive content you guys have. The many hours you guys have of this footage, I'm just curious where to land. But other than that, as far as whether podcasts, OnlyFans, books, shows, what else do you guys have coming up that fans could expect to see in 2023 at least?
I think we're going to start working on maybe a tequila brand deal. I would like to try to do coffee because coffee is like a really obviously big thing.
big. Coffee
And then
is
maybe possibly weed or
It's even bigger in
mushrooms.
Oklahoma. You're in Oklahoma, or you have a spot in Oklahoma.
Well, I think mushrooms would be a better thing because I think mushrooms are going to
That's
be
the
the
new
next.
wave. That's the newest wave.
I think that's going to be a really big deal.
Yeah, a lot of states are decriminalizing it now.
And mushrooms are so much safer.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a new wave.
Yeah.
Shout out to Mario movie.
I'm
going
guessing
crazy.
you guys have tried mushrooms.
I tried them in Vegas time.
Nobody said, really, what's that like?
No, I tried them in Vegas one time. To me, I ain't gonna lie, edible was more stronger.
Really?
But
You had the wrong
maybe I
mushroom.
didn't have the right. Maybe I don't know. I don't know.
Here's a tip.
big-
Here's a tip for all your viewers who do mushrooms. Is we were buying mushrooms when we were in Thackerville from the lab at Texas A&M. They were growing them down there.
Oh, wow,
And
synthetic
I don't
mushrooms.
think it was above board, but these guys were growing
They
shrooms.
were doing experiments.
So,
Yes.
and he brought it to us. He says, okay, you go to Walmart and you buy the bars of coca. It's not chocolate. I mean, it's chocolate, but they call it coca. And he says, you break off one of those squares and you put your mushrooms on it and eat it. And he says it intensifies it by 12. And
Yeah.
the coca tastes nasty, but
But still,
so the mushrooms anyway.
yeah, right. So life hack. Okay, you get in the comment section. I want people to, hey, y'all go try the bars of cocoa with a mushroom, see what it does.
Orange juice is supposed to intensify it too. But I don't know how.
All right. We may live dangerous. So yeah, we're gonna close out with look who. She hopped off camera. Okay.
Camera shy. Come here, baby.
Camera shy.
Come here.
Here.
There you go. So again, this is a family affair, man. Tiger King has took over
Thanks for hair.
the world. Jeff and Lauren, again, for whatever people think, you guys are family. I don't know what they thought they saw on TV, but you guys are sitting right here, 3 to 4 years later.
Yeah. We're
just
here.
from the show, and there you go, doing your thing. James, of course, doing your thing. I have to say it, man. For those that do want to follow you guys on social media personally,
Come, mommy.
what are your best social media accounts to follow?
We've got Tiger King Park on Instagram, and
We have Tiger King official on TikTok, and then either one. They're all doing like really good. So, sorry.
I have James Garretson, the number 1 on Instagram usually is the platform I like to use.
I started, people, haters and 10 people have got 12 opinions, but people were starting to bitch that we were putting too much Joe trashing and John Phillips trashing on our site. And I said, well, you know what? I created on Instagram, Jeff Lowe
Underscore. It's
Underscore?
Jeff Lowe _
Tiger King, and I started loading that thing up with all the,
Yeah.
So if you want to get in that rabbit hole, go there, and every day we post shit.
We're just dropping things as we find
slowly,
them.
is
Yeah.
it strategic or you just throwing stuff out there?
And it's not even just to piss him off. And I hope he sees it all, and I hope he loses sleep every night.
But my OnlyFans is Tiger Queen _ So we keep everything under the whole Tiger name.
Everyone is stupid. I mean, that's, we had to live through that Tiger King mess, so why not take advantage of that?
Yeah.
Of that name.
It might be a cereal one day. Frosted Flakes may come at you and say, "Hey,
Yeah.
Tony the
take
Tiger.
over."
Take Tony the Tiger. They
Well,
never
yeah.
know.
No respectable coming.
I gotta say, man. Is there anybody that you'd like to thank? Any shout outs you'd like to give as far as?
Like, thank you guys.
Yes.
I mean, this has been
Thank
fun.
you guys. You guys have been
Thank y'all for having
amazing.
us.
I
Thank
love
you.
it.
Thank you guys for pulling up again. We, again, to be a black media platform, during COVID, we were enthralled with what the Tiger King was. Again, to be right up to the next state up. All this was going on under our nose. We didn't know. The world didn't know. But for it to play out on screen and on camera, man, thank you guys for allowing us into your lives, man, for real.
Can you imagine how many other
Thank you guys.
fucked up situations there are that we just don't know about? We gotta wait till the next pandemic to find out.
Well, we can't wait till the next one, man. Here we go, man. We got Jeff and Lauren Lowe, man. We also have James in the building, man.
Thank you,
Tiger
guys.
King alumni.
Thank you.
You are Real Life Street Stars. We salute it.
Thank you guys. Y'all have been amazing.
Real life.